Rickey Smiley, man, Gerald Bird, that was the man.
Hey, Dr. Khan, I want you to play that for the first lady tonight. Make a video with y'all slow dancing to that, Dr. Khan. I'm going to post it on my social media.
We will do that, sir. And then some. You know, she loves to do that sort of thing. We actually slow dance all the time at home, so we are good to go with that. Okay,
Dr. Khan,
we ready?
Let's go, man. Talk to these folks that were standing in line buying Jordans and being unsafe.
Okay, yeah. In Atlanta, demonstrated this weekend how just slightly relaxing the restrictions on social distancing has made people just wild out, so to speak. In Atlanta, at a local mall, they had the release of a new tennis shoe or a new sneaker, and the lines were long. People were literally shoulder to shoulder. They stood in line outside the store at the local mall for a long time. Again, totally and inappropriately. Very few people were wearing masks, but nobody was 6 feet social distancing. And so they had several large group gatherings in and around the city of Atlanta. They had one gathering where the hot rodders were doing donuts in the middle of the street, and a large crowd gathered to watch them and film it for social media. And then there were just all of the parks in and around the city of Atlanta were packed with no consideration for social distancing at all. People were literally shoulder to shoulder, very few people wearing masks, but everybody literally all on top of each other. Now, how is this going to affect what's going on with the coronavirus? Well, they released a new model used by the Trump administration, which now is forecasting 134,000 U.S. deaths by August, nearly double what was the earlier projection based on social distancing. Now they're expecting 3,000 U.S. deaths per day. That's 3,000 U.S. deaths per day. The current average is 1,750. So that's almost doubling the rate. And this is thought to be a direct response to relaxing the stay-at-home restrictions because people aren't following the remainder of the guidelines. They obviously heard the part that says you can now go out and socialize, but what they didn't hear was still maintain social distancing, still wear masks. I'm still not hearing people saying unequivocally, make sure your eyes are covered. You should wear goggles. Remember, a mask only covers and provides half the coverage, 50%. So you need to cover your eyes as well. So, this is not, people just aren't listening. They are too relaxed at this point, and we know that they had cabin fever and that they needed to get out. But 2 weeks from now, Ricky, we're going to see some shocking statistics. I think
I'm telling you right now, as a matter of fact, they got it on the news right now. Like they're showing people standing in line buying, and while we buying tennis shoes, other folks buying guns. I'm just saying.
That's the other extreme of what's going on here. We're buying tennis shoes, and again, the original businesses that were open were obviously targeted toward minorities and people of color. Barber shops, beauty shops, nail shops, and and tattoo parlors. Bowling alleys, my God. So, this is, I've heard and read in social media people saying we're part of an experiment to see how this will go. And don't be a part of the experiment. You still have an opportunity to make a personal choice to continue to do the right thing. You can still stay home. You can still stay safe. You can still stay healthy. But if you go out and you're tempted to do so, I was literally surprised yesterday that even my daughter, who I've had much trouble keeping under wraps and keeping her at home, it says she's not going to the park, she's not going out. She was shocked and surprised at the number of people that were out there, and it made it real for her, that her generation is totally ignoring these social distancing guidelines.
Yeah. So Dr. Collier, if somebody, let's just say people standing in line getting sneakers or whatever, and going to all these spots, and people Chicago having these big block parties and all this stuff that's going on, and Roebuck and stuff, and so when would you see a spike? Let's just say somebody in all of those groups, all those parties that we see on Instagram, if somebody's infected, when would you see a spike? How does that happen?
We were starting to see a spike in the first few days, but it will be 2 weeks before the spike starts to peak, and 2 weeks after that when we start to see an increase in the death rate. So, people have been exposed. They will start to show signs and symptoms within a few days, but most of the people, at that time, they're highly infectious. They're going to spread it to other people that they're around. So you have one or two people in the family that are not doing what they're supposed to do. They bring it home. Now everybody in the household is infected. So, it's thought thought that under normal circumstances, one person could infect up to 8 people. That number is probably going to be doubled, with one person being responsible for directly infecting at least 20 people. So the numbers are going to be astronomical. And I think that might be part of the problem, Ricky. People are no longer impressed by the numbers. Once you're over 1 million, it doesn't really mean anything until you get to the 2 million mark. So, people, but everybody at this point knows someone who has tested positive, knows someone who has been very sick with it. Although still the vast majority of people are resolving their symptoms in a 14-day period with little or no consequences. There are still people that know people that have died. There are still people that know people that have been in the hospital. They celebrated the release of a gentleman that's been in the hospital for 7 weeks. He was in ICU. He was released, and he thanked the entire hospital staff. But he was just a miracle that happened. It just wasn't his time. But for the vast majority of people, as we talked about, if you get sick enough to go on the ventilator, 8 out of 10 people are not going to have a good outcome. They'll be on the ventilator for a while, but eventually that acute respiratory distress syndrome will result in their demise. So, people are excited about, this new treatment, remdesivir. That is not the silver bullet. That is not going to cure this problem. It only shortens the duration. But if you have it bad, you're going to still have it bad. I'm not sure it's going to positively impact the death rate in a significant way. It's just going to shorten the course for people who probably would have recovered anyway. So, this product, I don't know why it's become standard of care. It's like Tamiflu. If you don't start it in the first 48 hours, it's not going to do you any good. They readily tell you that, so they mute your expectation as to what will happen when you take the medicine. Yet it's still predicted at this point that a full 10-day course of therapy for this is estimated to go to cost about $4,500. So times the millions of cases. So do the math on that. That's going to be really, really, a good piece of change being made by the company that's creating that. And again, for a return, it's not, return on investment doesn't seem to be that good. So I'm still sharing with Rickey Smiley Morning Show listeners. Stay safe, stay at home, still follow social distancing. Don't be slack with wearing your mask. Always cover your eyes as well. We are not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. The cases in the United States are still increasing. Hear me, listen to me. The cases are still increasing. But you notice now we're not getting information from the White House. They have stopped the coronavirus, and so we're having problems.
Right. Dr. Collier, let everybody know how you can be reached.
You can reach me on all social media at AskASK Dr. MJ, and we're going to bring you more information on a daily basis.
And it's Dr. Collier. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for bringing us that information, because we really have to be safe and do not take this for granted, and don't think that it cannot happen to you, and make sure you go and cover up your eyes. Go to Home Depot and get you some of those DeWalt clear glasses and put them over your face, because they're going to cover it. They're going to close all of those seals or whatever, because somebody cough, sneeze, breathe the wrong way, and you walk through it and it get in your eyes or whatever. The mask ain't going to do you no good, because it can get in your eyes. It's in the air. Y'all be careful out there. Dr. Collier, thank you, man.
Thank you, Ricky, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Rickey Smiley Morning Show.